Hello, this is NuBrGNi, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players. Here on this show, we spend 1 week highlighting an up-and-coming North American player. Throughout the week, we find out more about the player's history, their personality, and their playstyle over the course of 6 short episodes. On Monday, we'll interview the player and find out more about them. Tuesday through Thursday, we'll watch a game from each of the various matchups casted by your very own NuBrGNi. On Friday, we'll check out a generally awesome game with some sick play, and on Saturday, we'll kick it back with the player and have some wacky fun with some randomly selected events like handicap ladder matches, karaoke, and dance contests. Each episode aims to be about 20 to 30 minutes long, so you can learn more about the North American StarCraft 2 scene without interrupting your busy WCS schedule. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, this is NuBrGNi coming at you with another episode of Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players that you need to know about. Today on the show, we have our Zerg versus Terran as we are highlighting Eternity Gaming's NuBrGNi, so let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right-hand corner on top of the red Zerg player. Once again, the highlight player of the week and representing Team Eternity Gaming is Eternity Gaming's NuBrGNi. Do not let the name tag or the UR tag fool you. This is in fact NuBrGNi, and he's playing up against his opponent. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner as the blue Terran player representing no team other than evil geniuses. It is the British Terran player and very well-known player, EG's the Muslim. And we have a show on our hands. The map is Star Station, and it's going to be pretty exciting. This is, in fact, NuBrGNi's very favorite matchup to actually play, so I'm really excited to see how he decides to actually play this out. He has actually talked in his interview how he thinks, ZvT is one of those matchups that, obviously Ling, Baneling, Mutalisk, and eventually Ultralisk in the Super Late game are the sort of standards that Zerg have been going for. But one thing that he feels a lot of Zergs have sort of been neglecting, that he has been picking up the slack for a little bit, is the idea of making sure you always get really good engagements. That means not funneling your Zerglings through small little chokes or getting bad engagement angles, especially on really big maps. And honestly, Star Station going to be a pretty big map. There's a lot of wide open spaces on this map. But, making sure that you go for those big surrounds from the backside, making sure you try and get the flanking positions and just go crazy with positional play. And I think that is going to be a very, very strong thing to be able to do on a map like Star Station. So I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how he decides to open this up, where the engagements will actually take place, etc. Because NuBrGNi, again, a player that is really good at punishing players who make mistakes. So with that being said, the Muslim going for the command center first, and throwing on the barracks immediately behind this. His drone being very, very annoying. He's actually whittling away quite heavily at a lot of those SCVs, and if he gets lucky with how these SCVs decide to move across the barracks in the command center, he could actually pick off an SCV. That would just be so annoying for Muslim, but Muslim a really top-notch player. And whoa, actually we have NuBrGNi going for the 3 hatcheries before the spawning pool. This is a very economic play, as I'm sure you can imagine, trying to get up 3 bases before you even have units to defend, even on the way. That is going to be a pretty ballsy play from NuBrGNi, but it may very well work out, especially since he is doing this sort of reactively to the command center first. And on a map like Star Station, it's going to be a long distance across the map. And, as long as you can get the creep out around up until this point or so, it's going to be hard to actually shut down a lot of that creep spread. And with the creep spread, you sort of have the mobility to defend against things like Hellions, and even small little Marine pushes is going to be much more difficult to do as we go into the mid game. But Gas Geyser is down for the Muslim, and with that last Marine finishing up, the command center is going to go ahead and lift itself off, plant itself down over at that natural expansion, and we'll have to see, does he go ahead and build the factory? It looks like the factory is being built, and we'll have to... There's only one way to find out whether or not he's going to build a reactor, and that's just waiting a little bit. So we're going to come back to that in just a little bit as we check out to see what NuBrGNi is up to. Of course, actually grabbing those that Gas Geyser and taking a couple of drones off of gas after he gets enough gas, it seems. Did he get enough gas for Zergling speed? Yes, he did. Exactly 100 gas for Zergling speed. Good to start that researching and stop mining that gas. Just powering like a madman. And in the meanwhile, we have that reactor started up right now for that barracks. And eventually it's going to transition over to that factory as soon as it finishes up. And a third command center coming out from DeMuslim. And this is really just standard DeMuslim play. And this actually might be a little bit of NuBrGNi's style, kind of saying, hey, DeMuslim is a very macro-oriented player. He likes to cut a lot of corners, and 3CC is so DeMuslim. It is something he is renowned for trying to do, playing that very almost greedy style of Terran play. So NuBrGNi might be doing that kind of thing where he decides to play the player rather than just specifically playing the particular race, because he says, you know, normally Zerg might not be able to get away with this, but against a player like DeMuslim, who you know is going to try and play a little bit more macro-oriented, a little bit more greedy, I should say, you can get away with this kind of play. So I'm already really liking that from NuBrGNi, but DeMuslim has his first 2 Hellions out. He can still do some good damage over here. He's going to try and shut down a little bit of the scouting information of NuBrGNi, but speed kicks in at the absolute last second. He's going to be able to save that Zergling for a little bit before it does finally get roasted. It got roasted in half. Do you see that? That carcass is split in half. That is... I didn't know fire could do that. It looks like he just roasted the skeleton straight in half. That's pretty cool. Props to Blizzard for all those kind of effects, but look at this. NuBrGNi already getting up a bit of a wall in to try and deal with those Hellions. As long as he doesn't have really too many drones over here at this 3rd expansion, he should be able to defend against this just fine. Actually, even the Queen starting to back out a little bit as he does not want to lose that Queen. And as soon as he gets the creep spread going over there, he will be able to connect these 2 bases. A really nice job from NuBrGNi in getting up those Queens relatively quick and getting up that creep spread. I mean, he already has 5 Queens out on the map. This is one of those slightly older styles where you get up a lot of Queens to try and defend against the Hellions. And it could work out very well. And oh, actually we have a Roach out, so it looks like a Roach Warren is down somewhere. I guess it's a part of the wall-in. But how many Roaches is he actually going to produce? It doesn't seem like he's producing anymore. Just getting 4 up just to deal with the Hellions. And it's a pretty interesting play because you get up the Roach Horn, it costs a little bit extra minerals, but honestly, NuBrGNi's kind of said, hey, I've gone for the super economic opening, even though you've gone for Command Center first, and you've gotten for that probably triple CC, as it seems he feels like he has a read on. He can afford to just throw down 4 Roaches to make sure he doesn't take too much damage. I mean, really, not that much damage has been taken so far, so NuBrGNi definitely taking a bit of a lead in that sense, but DeMuslim does have a lot of barracks starting to wrap up all their add-ons, and once these add-ons finish up, DeMuslim is going to be powering units like a madman. The starport has finished up. It's going to getting that reactor and getting up a lot of medevacs very shortly, as even more barracks are actually being thrown down, and that 3rd command center is being taken. Armory being thrown down. Hold that thought. Hellions moving into the 3rd expansion, able to do a little bit of damage, but not really getting a lot of kills. Looks like so far we have 4 kills. A single Hellion going to be falling. The drones actually coming back a little bit preemptively right now, as those Hellions going to get a couple more kills, do a little bit more damage. That wall-in is actually going to be tight thanks to that Queen over there. A really nice play from NuBrGNi. And these Hellions are going to finally have to back off. The Roaches doing the final push off and chasing them back. A single Roach actually might be able to take out all these Hellions if DeMuslim is not paying attention. And he does finally catch wind of that, but a little bit too late. Loses one of those Hellions that he does not want to be losing. And I mean, at this point, the Hellions are nice, but you can see he's very much so transitioning out into that bio style of play. So the Hellions really just going to be there, try and control Zone Lago watchtowers, poke around, maybe try and deny a creep tumor here and there, and be generally annoying, but not a central part of that game plan. Now, in the meanwhile, we check out, see what NuBrGNi is up to. His lair is finished up. He has a Spire on the way, and the Spire going to be, of course, for those Mutalisks. Don't really generally see Zerg players going for their Corruptors or anything like that, but we'll have to wait and see how effective he'll be with those Mutalisks, because there's a lot of different ranges of how many meals you can make versus how many Zerglings and Banelings you can make when you take your 4th expansion, etc. Because if you just power up and get a massive number of Mutalisks immediately, you can do a lot of harassment damage. But DeMuslim should be prepared for it. I mean, he has so many barracks constantly producing out units, and I mean, the Metamax, they're relatively well-timed, and Muslim actually going to be able to do a really nice push-out over here. It looks like he also has +1/+1, and he's going to be hitting around the time that, +1/+1 finished up for both of these players. Actually, even the Roach is going to have at least +1 Carapace, though not the missile attacks. But scans go down, trying to clear up some of those creep tumors. Muslim has to be careful. There are a lot of banelings, and they have that baneling speed research. So a big stim, he does have to push back out and move back off of that creep. Does not want to engage on that creep, as he'll just get hit by those banelings so quickly. But clearing out a little bit of the creep is a nice little move. And of course, being able to just do a little bit of pressure, try and force your opponent to make a couple more units. As you can see, I mean, Eternity Gaming's NuBrGNi had to make all of these banelings just in case this push-in was happening. And now you can see Muslim just kind of doing very non-committal aggression, moving it with a handful of units, scouting out, seeing what's around, and I like this. NuBrGNi doing that kind of positional play. He wraps some banelings around the right-hand side, and he's going to force a lift-off. These banelings not going to actually make any big connections, but he might be able to pick off on 3 Marauders. No, a nice positional play from Muslim, actually using that high ground advantage over there and pushing back those Zerglings. But I really like that play from NuBrGNi. He swung those Zerglings and those banelings around the right-hand side, had a handful of those Zerglings on this side, and tried to get a bit of a flanking position. It wasn't an entire flank, given the fact that he was dealing with a very fast moment in time that he had to do that reaction, but it was a really nice move. In the meanwhile, we do have Muslim trying to come in back over here with these 2 Medivacs. Looks like one of them is a little bit low on health. And these units are going to have to pick up very soon, as they're not going to be able to get out of here with their lives. 3 Marauders going to be taken out at the same time. The drop coming in over here at the back, and actually a couple of Mutals immediately losing their lives. This is going to be doing a lot of damage right now. The Spinecrawler not going to be able to finish up either, as these Marines are just poking all those drones down to death. Going to be able to escape out of there also with a lot of their lives, although the medevac boost is going to be wearing out very soon, and he's going to end up losing everything in both of these medevacs thanks to those Mutals. Splash damage goes down, and not a single Marine gets out of there, but the double medevac from downbound south is actually going to be dropping over here behind the third. He does manage to do a little bit of damage. So far, we've actually had 14 workers killed, but the Mutals are on chase, and with all this creep spread, he knows exactly where those medevacs are headed, exactly the angle, and actually a nice dropout from Muslim is going to stab those back for a little bit. But to what end? This is a pretty good end, I have to say. Muslim going to be pushing in over here to this top side, clearing out some creep. No expansion over here just yet, but you know, Burrowed Woodamine will actually potentially disable the ability to take that expansion if NuBrGNi does not notice with some of those overseers that is there. And oh my god, look at the vision right there. That vision, that is some really go-to placement of that medevac drop. And does NuBrGNi see? He sees it. He's going to be coming in over here, and that's going to be no escape. The Mutals are also there to try and greet those medevacs in case they try and run away, but one of the medevacs gets taken out and the other one survives with a handful of those units. Those Mutals going to have to try and retreat very soon. Actually, he's going to go straight after the medevac, manages to take it out, and then has to retreat back home because there is another little push out from Muslim, and that Widowmine could get a big shot off and gets a decent. That was a nice shot. 14 kills from that Widowmine shot. Definitely win for Muslim over there. But I have to say that right now, NuBrGNi is sitting on +2/+2, and even though Muslim also sitting on +2/+2, there is so much creep spread over here. Big medevac drop going on over at the top side once again at that natural expansion, and we have more and more drones slowly being killed. Another 5 drones killed over here, but Muslim is just crazy with this aggression from all the different angles. NuBrGNi doing a good job placing his units in the right position, and now we end up seeing all of these Zergling units just charging forward over here on the creep, and Muslim is unable to escape their wrath right now. The medevacs are going to be living for a little bit because the Mutals were busy trying to deal with some of those drops, but after all of that has been said and done, NuBrGNi definitely coming out way ahead from that engagement in terms of how many units he just managed to slaughter during that. But Muslim is just known for his macro mode, boss modeness, and he's going to be throwing up a couple more command centers just to add to that as he takes a couple more expansions as well. But I have to say, you know, Muslim is basically staying this game because he is godlike in terms of macro. But NuBrGNi is taking really favorable engagements. I mean, you saw how patient he was, not charging with all those banelings until finally Muslim encroached just a little bit too far forward onto that creep. And the entire engagement happened on the creep. That is something that NuBrGNi, again, has talked about in his interview. He believes that it's really important to get those good engagements. And now you end up seeing that is why it's so important to have this giant, massive creep, because even though Muslim is trying to charge in over here, deny some of that creep spread, it's difficult. It's difficult to even deny a lot of the creep, because then NuBrGNi just kind of starts spreading it all over again. He's going to be taking another expansion down here, which is going to be slightly secured by the creep, but I mean, it's awfully close to his opponent's base. I mean, they're literally just 2 screens away from each other. Some of those Widow Mines do get taken out, and a handful of DeMuslim's units still being very, very aggressive on this side of the map. This Widow Mine does have 9 kills, so I don't know how many of them are drone kills, but it doesn't look like NuBrGNi even trying to expand in that direction for now. Mutalists do have to be careful, as those missile turrets are going to be able to stab them off for a little bit, but no, NuBrGNi just saying, I'm going to go for it. Loses a handful of Mutalists. Not sure how effective those trades are actually right now, and he has to be careful. He doesn't want to lose those Mutalists. They're a huge part of this army, but Muslim, he's moving onto the creep again, and it looks like NuBrGNi coming in at that angle. He gets a flank over on both sides, traps a lot of those Marines, and gets a lot of really good juicy baneling hits over there, but Muslim still has a lot of those Marines left over. At the same time, the Mutals actually using this as an opportunity to come in over here, take out all those missile turrets. They are getting repaired up, or at least one of them is getting repaired up, but the Mutals DPS is just a little bit too high. He finally managed to take all of them out. These Marines so close to take out that hatchery, but do not manage to do it just quite in time. He has to send back a couple of units to actually defend the expansion down over here. He needs that expansion, but this hatchery is going to go down in exchange, as the Zergons are going to be coming in, but it looks like they're just going to be a little bit too late. The hatchery goes down. The medevac's going to be boosting out of there. The Mutal's going to try and intercept them, but they're going to just come in a tad bit too late. Has to be careful with that Widow Mine. The Widow Mine going to get a big juicy shot off. Managed to pick off a Mutalist. Managed to do a lot of splash damage as well. And honestly, this is quite a game. I'm really glad that NuBrGNi sent this to me. As you can just see, the macro mode from DeMuslim, the god-like macro mode from DeMuslim, I have to say, and really, really great engagement choices from NuBrGNi, taking those flanking positions, getting that insane creep spread up, and really just having all of his units in the right place at the right time. Although, I mean, I say that, but right now, a lot of his Mutals up at the top side, and there's going to be a big engagement down over here. And look at this. The medevac count is getting out of control right now. We already have 11 medevacs in this, or with this army, but NuBrGNi going for that big flank over here, or not the flank, but he's actually going to try and grab as many of those Marines as possible. Manages to basically take out a ton of them over here. And now he's going to be charging in over here to the 4th expansion, and DeMuslim going to actually be able to stab back NuBrGNi once again, but the Mutals coming in over here to the left-hand side. This is going to be the untouched side, but look at all these missile turrets. You can afford to do this when you have as many bases as DeMuslim and you have as many workers. I mean, 65 workers, and that's despite the fact that NuBrGNi has been able to kill off, well, actually only killed off 5 of them, but still, when you have that many orbital commands, you can actually afford to just get up that many bases and throw down all the mules that you need. And there you end up seeing those mules I'm talking about. And DeMuslim just continues this aggression, but he has to be so careful. NuBrGNi is so strong with getting that creep spread going over and over and over again. Doesn't matter how many times you take it out, he will get it back up, and he will use those Zergons to try and get those big wraparounds, try and stop those Marines from running by. And now we end up seeing some banelings coming over here. They're going to try and get over behind that middle line. It looks like this could end up working out. Actually, no, they're going to be going behind that. But over here, we have the big engager going down. A big Widow Mine shot goes off, and a lot of big baneling hits, though. So big splash damage going down on both sides. Some of these Marines could take some big damage, and it looks like the majority of them do manage to get away. And the Mutals count is actually thinned out quite heavily, but NuBrGNi taking the end advantage in that engagement, being able to push back to Muslim. But to Muslim, once again, this is the thing, he doesn't go for maybe the most favorable engagements, but he has the army to back it up. He can take a couple unfavorable engagements, and once again, this hatchery over here in the bottom right hand corner is going to be under fire, and it's going to be so difficult to defend this. It's going to go down. There's no way NuBrGNi can defend that, and he's going to have to try and take this expansion over here. Oh no! 27 kills on this Widow Mine, and he's going to have to get an Overseer over there, or 2 Overseers, and try and clear out that Widow Mine and retake that expansion. And now you check out the income, because for a long time, the income hasn't mattered too much. But now you end up seeing the 3rd expansion has been mining for such a long time. It's going to be mined out very soon. The 4th expansion is all NuBrGNi has right now. And with this fantastic positioning from DeMuslim, he's going to be setting up in such a great position. It's going to be so difficult for NuBrGNi to do a whole lot over here as the Zergons are coming in. The Widow Mines are getting picked off, but actually a lot of those banelings do end up going down. The banelings taking out a lot of those Widow Mines. The Mutals charging it over here, but they're engaging against the Marines without the Zergling support over here. The Zergling support actually is not around, and GG well played gets called. NuBrGNi taps out, and DeMuslim from Evil Geniuses takes the game. But I mean, nobody can say that NuBrGNi did not fight that out very, very strongly. We saw some great flanking positions over here, with Zerglings coming around. There's a right-hand flank. Zerglings coming down the left-hand flank, trying to get us around on an army that was retreating this direction. I mean, that is difficult to do, but when you have the creep spread that NuBrGNi does, you have those very, very fast units, and you have that a really, really solid and tactical knowledge of where to put your units, it can actually end up working out. So really well played by both these players. DeMuslim, of course, a fantastic Terran player. No shame in losing to him. But with that being said, guys, please go ahead and check out NuBrGNi. Yeah, go ahead and check out NuBrGNi. He has a Twitter and a Twitch that are posted over in the Twitch chat if you're watching this live on Twitch, over at twitch.tv/FearDragon64. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching it through the VOD, you can go ahead and check it out over at youtube.com/FearDragon64, where all the VODs are actually uploaded. But the same links will be just below the video. And of course, check out all the other links, such as Eternity Gaming, etc. But also, just quick shout out to DeMuslim, because he's a total badass. Everyone loves that Brit from Evil Geniuses. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this commentary, please consider following me over here on twitch.tv/FearDragon64 or youtube.com/FearDragon64, whichever one is your preference. The live broadcasts happen 8:30 p.m. Pacific and 11:30 Eastern time zone. So if you're ever interested in checking that out, you can check that out. Of course, we are on the TL calendar, that Team Liquid calendar. So awesome. So Gosu, being able to be featured on there, on the calendar at least. But yeah, with that being said, this has pretty much been the wrap up of the Zerg versus Terran for Eternity Gaming's NuBrGNi. Now, this is a slight, just not too old, but a slightly older replay, just about a month old, and there actually was a patch that hit just today or yesterday, one of the two. So I actually was not able to grab a co-commentator as per usual for this game. So if that ends up happening in the future, again, I'm so sorry. That is probably the reason why I don't have a co-commentator, because unfortunately, for some reason, Battle.net is just like, you can't watch replay with friends. I'm like, I don't really want to go back to the Wings of Liberty days where I had to sync up replays. That was a huge pain. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Huge shout out to youtube.com/DSCA account for all the music that you guys are listening to over on the live stream, and definitely check him out if you're on YouTube already. I mean, you're already there. Just erase the URL bar, type in /DSCA account, and check out his music. It's awesome video game covers. But guys, it's been lovely to have you. Hope to see you all tomorrow for the Zerg versus Protoss of the week. Have a wonderful night. Take care, guys.